Roll out the red carpet and get out your acceptance speech because we have your Backstage Pass to Hollywood. Backstage Pass starts now.
In 5, 4,
3, 2,
Are you ready?
Hey Explorers, welcome back to Backstage Pass, where we give you the scoop on all things entertainment. My name is Luke Salvin.
And my name is Patrick O'Hara, but you probably already knew that. I hope. The weather's been getting a lot warmer here where we are, and St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. But we're always in luck here because everyone's favorite giraffe, aka myself, and everyone's favorite leprechaun, Lucas, is here to spring into this change of season.
It's springtime, and things are changing like crazy. Motorcycles are revving, Pokemon games are releasing, and segment producer Genesis Clark is out to get me. Oh, and now there's also another person besides me talking about pro wrestling. Well, anyway, we'll learn more about all that later this episode, so let's not waste any more time. Whee! Last episode of Backstage Pass, I mentioned that we are getting Toy Story 5, but I did not have enough time to mention Disney Pixar's newest film titled Hoppers. The story centers around Mabel Tanaka, a 19-year-old animal lover and college student who protests the mayor's decision to replace the town's glade with a freeway. Later, Mabel's professor teaches her about the newly developed Hoppers program, where a person's consciousness can be transferred into a robot beaver in order to experience wildlife firsthand. Against the professor's wishes, Mabel uses the technology in an attempt to save the glade. At the moment, the film's reviews seemed to be primarily positive, receiving a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and 7.7 on IMDb. But who cares about those numbers anyway? Because you can check out Hoppers for yourself in theaters now.
Dearest gentle reader, the time calls upon you to view the newest episodes of Bridgerton. That's right, the last 4 episodes of the 4th season of Bridgerton are now available to stream on Netflix. And dearest reader, allow me to tell you that it may be, in my opinion, the best season yet. Now, for those who don't remember my brief recap on part 1 of season 4 in episode 7, season 5 follows Benedict Bridgerton, who encounters a mysterious lady in silver during the first ball of the season. But as quickly as she catches his eye, she disappears, causing Benedict to go crazy. That is until he meets Sophie Beck, who, spoiler alert, is the lady in silver. Only Benedict doesn't know because outside of the ball, she's just a maid. And in this period, cross-classing is highly frowned upon. But in Act 2, the two find themselves closer than ever, almost inescapable. Benedict even sticks by her side when she's accused of stealing her stepmother's shoe clips and faces a sentence of life in prison. Big spoiler alert, the two get the approval from Queen Charlotte herself to be together, and the two marry happily ever after. But happily ever after is not the case for Benedict's sister, Francesca Bridgerton, who, spoiler alert, loses the love of her life, Lord John Sterling, out of the blue in the second half of this season. It was so out of the blue that I was nowhere near prepared. And yes, I cried. Probably enough tears to put April Showers out of business. But anywho, for those who don't remember, Sterling was Francesca's other half. He understood her far more than anyone else, including her family, ever could. He was even down to sit in silence and stare at the stars with her. His passing devastates her, especially since she believes she's pregnant with his heir to the throne. Until she finds out she's not. She blames herself, calling herself a bad wife who didn't fulfill her wifeful duties for John. Luckily, John's cousin, Michaela Sterling, is there to keep her company during this insanely dark period. However, once the two become closer than ever, Michaela leaves and Francesca's left on her own, with nothing. Luckily, though, she still has her family to rely on. Shout out to her sister and brother, Eloise and Benedict. They're real ones. You can check out the complete 4th season of Bridgerton, available only on Netflix.
Do you like spiders, noir, and Nicolas Cage? If yes, then I'm deeply confused by you, but will also suggest Spider Noir. This superhero show adapts the Marvel Comics spin-off character, Spider-Man Noir. The story follows Ben Reilly, an older and down-on-his-luck investigator in 1930s New York. He once was the only superhero hidden under the mask persona known as the Spider. However, when faced with a unique case, he decides to don the mask again. Ben Reilly is played by Nicolas Cage, who also voiced the Spider-Man noir character in the Spider-Verse film series. You can check out this 8-episode live-action series when it releases on May 27th.
Okay, I'm a huge fan of the Scream franchise. I own so many shirts of Ghostface and have watched all the Scream movies multiple times, and I have to say, I wasn't impressed by the recent installments of the franchise, aka Scream 7. I had the opportunity to see the film when it released on February 27th, and truth be told, I didn't really like it. My biggest issue with it was the writing, and let me explain. Spoiler alert, this movie's goal was to comment on the rise of artificial intelligence, but also to provide meta commentary on legacy characters and requels. I just wasn't a fan of how there was no time spent to get to know the characters. So when Ghostface attacked, I really didn't care. Like, it did nothing for me. Plus, there was just no stakes, especially considering it's been reported that, allegedly, when Neve Campbell signed on to do Scream 7, she made it clear that her character, Sidney Prescott, wouldn't die. However, none of the main characters died. And while I appreciated the return of Courtney Cox's Gale Weathers, I felt like she had so little to do in the film. I will say I did appreciate the implementation of the Meeks-Martin twins, Mindy and Chad, supplying comedic relief to the film, but other than that, they really didn't do anything in the film and were just kind of there. Also, bringing back Matthew Lillard for nostalgia bait was so corny, in my opinion, especially because he was just an AI deepfake used to toy with Sydney and her daughter, Tatum. I mean, seriously? And don't even get me started on the killer reveals in the end, just lazy and boring writing. But don't just take my word for it. Feel free to see Scream 7 for yourself in theaters now and let us know your thoughts.
My thoughts usually just consist of pro wrestling. And speaking of pro wrestling, Jaydin Torres is here with his new segment titled Ring the Bell. Take it away, Jaydin.
Hello there. You might know me from a different show, but if you don't, my name is Jaydin Torres, and welcome to the first episode of Ring the Bell, where we will be talking about everything combat sports, from boxing to UFC to my favorite thing, WWE. Which, speaking of WWE, let's ring the bell and get right into it. The Elimination Chamber took place at the end of February. This was an eventful PLE with many results that led into the main event of WrestleMania. In the men's Elimination Chamber, this was, in my opinion, match of the night with people like Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, and a rising star, Trick Williams. And the winner of this match was Randy Orton, which was a beloved decision by the fans, as fans have been waiting for Randy to get a win like this since his return at Survivor Series 2023. He pinned Cody Rhodes with an interference from Drew McIntyre. Drew and Cody went on to have a WWE Championship match on SmackDown the week after, where Cody got the win and now will face Randy Orton at WrestleMania. This is a dream match fans have been waiting for since Cody's return to WWE. It's the perfect mentor versus student story. This will be the main event for WrestleMania in April. My money is on Randy to get his 15th world title, passing Triple H. This wasn't the only thing to happen on Elimination Chamber, as they revealed what was in the box. The mystery box that was going back and forth between Raw and SmackDown and whose issue it was. Both Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce opened to reveal a coffin. The coffin opened to reveal a very nice but very evil surprise of Danhausen, who was met to a mixed reaction, which is crazy because you have to love that Danhausen or you will be cursed. This was clearly shown on Raw when Dominic Mysterio tried his luck with Danhausen, but he was cursed. This curse was the only reason Dom lost his prestigious Intercontinental Championship. So take this as a learning lesson. Be very nice to Danhausen, especially if you're The Miz. That might end very terribly if he was cursed by Danhausen. Love that Danhausen. Moving on to a different topic, Logan Paul was in the headlines per usual, but he went on his podcast saying he could beat any NFL player in a fight. NFL players did not like this and went against Logan Paul, such as Myles Garrett, who is someone I would not want to fight, but one former NFL player offered to fight Logan Paul to see if he can do it. Le'Veon Bell offered to fight Logan Paul, which there was an agreement, but no official date, so we will keep an eye out for that date. 3 dates that are official are someone who went against Logan Paul in 2020. Yes, we are speaking of the greatest boxer of all time, in my opinion, Floyd Money Mayweather. Floyd first announced an exhibition against Mike Tyson in Africa on Netflix. The date is set for April 25th, with the two legends of different times going against each other in this all-time exhibition. This was not the only exhibition Floyd has set up this year, as he is facing kickboxer Mike Zambidis in June in Greece. Then Mayweather dropped a bombshell as he is coming out of retirement after his perfect 50-0 record to face Manny Pacquiao in the rematch of one of the biggest boxing fights of all time. The first fight took place in 2015, which was titled the Fight of the Century. We will see if the fight can have the same result, which was Floyd winning by unanimous decision, which I remember 8-year-old me being the only one rooting for Floyd that night, and I still am going to root for him in the rematch after 11 years and 9 years after his retirement. That will wrap it up for me. You better have liked this first episode of Ring the Bell, or else I will get Danhausen to curse everyone watching. I'm Jaydin Torres, and this was Ring the Bell. See you next time, and let's go back to Lucas Patrick now.
Thanks, Jaydin. It sounds like the combat sports world is geared for some huge events this year. Also, shout out to Danhausen. He once put a curse on me and I aced my finals. But anyway, now let's change the subject, Hausen, and talk music.
I just might be talking about Bruno Mars' latest studio album. Oh, yeah, you heard me right. Bruno Mars released his fourth studio album, The Romantic, on February 27th, and it was nothing short of impeccable. I was instantly hooked with the record's lead single, titled I Just Might, but I fell down the rabbit hole once I heard the full album. The record was accompanied by music videos for the album's intro track, Risk It All, and track 3's I Just Might. Altogether, it's a groovy 70s fever dream, beautifully embalmed in soul. And speaking of fourth studio albums, Harry Styles also released his fourth studio album titled Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally. And amid the album release on March 8th, Styles released an exclusive live recording of his One Night in Manchester performance on Netflix. The performance includes a bunch of tracks off the latest album, Styles' album, including Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally, and it's available everywhere you listen to music now.
In the last few years, the 80s music genre known as city pop gained a cult-like following around the world through social media. Many listeners say that the genre's unique sound elicits feelings of urbanism and nostalgia for them. One artist that gained significant popularity among the fan base was Reiko Takahashi, known for her song titled Sunset Road. Unfortunately for fans, Takahashi had completely vanished from the industry and spotlight back in the day, creating a mystery around what happened to her. That wasn't until recently when some fans discovered that she never went away. Apparently, she had moved from Japan to the United States and changed her name to Reiko with a new spelling so that she could create the music that she wanted to. The thing is, Reiko never knew that city pop had gained this international popularity, so she was surprised by the massive wave of new listeners for her work. After finding out, she made a post shortly acknowledging fans, saying that she'd take her time for a proper response. Later, she made a post saying, quote, I never imagined that the years of hard work from my childhood as an artist would one day be embraced by all people around the world. You'll never know what these past days have meant to me. They've truly touched my heart, end quote. She would also go on to say she felt inspired to make more city pop songs, collab with other artists from her era, and re-record her older songs. For more details about this heartwarming story, go to Reiko's Instagram, Reiko_official.
After 4 years of hiatus, K-pop girl group Blackpink finally returned to the music scene. After each member had their own fair share of time to release their own solo albums, the time finally came for them to create a mini album of their own. And unfortunately, it was not worth the wait. Titled Deadline after their 2025 world tour of the same name, the girls delivered 5 songs that, in my opinion, just aren't memorable. I really only care for the first 2 tracks, Jump and Go, but overall, the mini album offered extremely corny lyrics that a 10-year-old could have written, alongside outdated production that just doesn't sound or feel like Blackpink, especially considering their solo albums were incredible and just so authentic, to which their own, and Deadline just falls flat. But as usual, you can check it out for yourself on streaming now, available anywhere you listen to music.
The Japanese band Sukekyo, known for their avant-garde visual presentation, released a new single titled Possess, and honestly, I can't get enough of the cover art. It's so nice. What makes this single particularly unique is that it's a digital single, which is apparently not a common release model for the band. You can listen to Possess right now wherever you stream music.
I think I've been possessed by Gengar. You know, as in the Pokemon Gengar. Not familiar? Well, that's okay, because our friend Dan Peasy is here to talk about the mountain-high pile of Pokemon news that's hit the media as of late. Let's catch them all, Dan.
Hello everybody, welcome back to The Zone, where we talk about games and games alike. I'm Dan Peasy, and I'm very excited to talk about my favorite game series of all time, which, since it is officially the 30th anniversary of the Pokemon franchise. The franchise first began in 1996 when Japanese game designer Satoshi Tajiri wanted to create a game inspired by his childhood days of collecting insects. Very soon after the success of the first game, they expanded into other forms of media and marketing with a still running anime series, movies, and even trading cards. Since this year is a very important anniversary, the company has announced and released a lot of things for fans to enjoy. Just recently, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green have finally been released to the Nintendo Switch as a digital-only purchase. These games originally were released in 2004 as a remake of the original 1996 Gen 1 game in the Kanto region. What's extremely interesting about this game is that you can actually trade with other people. However, it's only on local wireless communication and not over Wi-Fi. With promised support with Pokemon Home, the cloud central storage system, which for decades has been impossible to do. I'm glad that they are actually adding this kind of support to the game instead of just putting the files in and calling it a day. And a new trailer has recently released for the newest Pokemon Battle Simulator, Pokemon Champions. This new trailer reveals the newest Mega Pokemon from the Legends ZA game being added as options for your team. This game focuses completely on competitive battling with a lot of mechanics from the older generations like Z-moves and Dynamaxing. While having the option to recruit Pokemon in the game itself, Champions offers a wide expansion to bring your Pokemon from other games and generations to create your perfect team. This game is promised to be released April this year on the Switch, while later having support for mobile devices and Android devices. Last week, the franchise released their newest game, Pokemon Pokopia, a cozy gameplay-style game made in collaboration with Omega Force, the same developers who made the Dragon Quest Builder series. In this game, you play as a Ditto taking the shape of a person, exploring an open and abandoned world filled with Pokemon that you can live and build alongside with. Before the games were released, this was announced to be the highest-rated Pokemon game of all time, almost getting perfect scores with all major reviewer change. This game only released on the Switch 2, which has most people feeling left out on the experience. This is definitely a game that I'm wanting to try out, but I think I prefer not burning my wallet for another few weeks. Finally, one of the most exciting announcements for the future of the franchise that we could have wished for is finally here. Pokemon's newest game for the 10th generation, Pokemon Winds and Waves, has finally been revealed. This new game introduces a new region inspired by tropical island environments like Indonesia and the Philippines. Huge forests and bodies of water filled with wandering Pokemon are seen within the trailer, and the entire look and feel of everything here looks nothing short of fantastic. It has so far been heavily implied that this will be a Switch 2 game, which I personally have no problem with at all, and I'm very glad that they are taking advantage of the new technology in front of them. Alongside this new region, the starters for the game have officially been revealed. Brout, Pombon, and Gekwa join the family of Pokemon starters and have already made a huge impression online. This game is announced to be released in 2027, and no further announcements have been made public yet. That's sadly all I've got for you guys today. What starter do you guys think you're gonna pick for the new game? I don't think there's any wrong answers here. Hopefully you guys like the news, and once again, I'm Dan Peasy, and this has been In the Zone.
This is gonna sound so off topic, but my favorite Pokemon has always been Mew. So all these new game releases better have Mew in them, or else I just won't be seated. I'm just kidding. I love Pokemon, but not as much as the video game news we have to share with you today. Let's grab the controller and see what's the latest.
I have a few games that I would like to chat about too. Starting off, we have the game that completely flew under my radar, that being Tales of Berseria Remastered. I've always wanted to play the original game, but haven't gotten around to it yet, so you can only imagine my excitement when I heard that this came out in late February. The story follows Velvet, who embarks on a journey of self-discovery after a traumatic event left her in deep anger. The other game is something I followed a little closer, that being The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. This title was revealed a while back, but now we're learning more about it as production continues. This story follows adventurer Elliot and his fairy Faye as they explore ruins and uncover secrets from previous time periods. You can play both of these games on all modern gen gaming platforms.
All right, we're gonna take a break from the games that we're talking about, but we're all familiar with the upcoming A24 film titled The Drama, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. But if you're not, then let me give you a brief synopsis. The movie stars the two during their wedding week. They're both happily and madly in love That is until Zendaya's character shares a dark secret from her past, and the two are forced to put their marriage to the absolute test. But amid the promotional campaign for the film, releasing April 3rd, it was revealed by Zendaya's stylist, Law Roach, that Zendaya and Tom Holland allegedly married in secret. This follows news that the two had gotten engaged during the 2024 holiday season, and of course, the internet has since gone crazy, analyzing every detail and everything Zendaya and Tom Holland have been spotted in, zoomed-ins of their fingers. You get the idea. But as it stands, neither Tom nor Zendaya have confirmed whether or not they've officially tied the knot. But over the weekend, a set of AI-generated photos of the two's wedding were posted online, which actually garnered over 10 million likes and counting. Please note that these images are not real, and that it would be highly unlikely for Tom Holland to bring his Spider-Man mask to the altar. But on the other side of the internet, there is a conspiracy that Law Roach only said this as a PR stunt to indirectly promote the film The Drama, considering the two are the hottest topic right now. But what do you think? Let us know on our socials at the end of the episode.
So you probably have a lot of questions about this battle between Genesis and myself, and honestly, I do too. But our Backstage Pass team was more curious about what signifies springtime, so we took to the LaSalle campus to find out in this edition of Backstage Asks.
Hi explorers! Welcome back to Backstage Asks. I'm Kayla McRae.
And I'm Patrick O'Hara.
You might be wondering where Lucas Alvin is. I think him and Genesis went to war.
War?
Yeah, you know what that's been all about. You know, them fighting each other, fighting for the spot.
This is so Lucas core.
Very Lucas core, unfortunately. Just when we had him back. Just when all three of us were back together.
Just when we started to smell spring in the air.
Literally, oh my god. Speaking of spring, we're asking our fellow explorers, what are the signifiers that spring is here? Do you see flowers? Are there certain smells in the air? So we're gonna ask them that today and we're gonna see what they say. Well, let's do it. Hi, welcome to Backstage Asks. What are your names?
Hi, I'm Nicole.
Hi, I'm Sim.
Hi, it's Cheyenne.
My name's Danae.
It's Gabby.
Gabby as in savage?
Yes,
Are you feeling savage?
every day.
Leisha.
My name's Melissa.
I'm Soraya.
My name's Jasmine Lynn.
I'm Masada.
Jaydin. I'm Dan.
My name's Kiana.
So how do you know when it's springtime? What are some signs to you that signal, oh, okay, it's springtime, time to be outside?
I think when I wake up on a Monday and I feel happy, you know, like the week, they're shorter, you wake up and the sunrise is like all in your face, like it's just a beautiful day and you know it's gonna be a beautiful day.
Growing up in North Philly, I feel like as soon as everybody starts, you hear the fast cars, you hear the engines, you hear the motorcycles, dirt bike, it's time to be outside. Like,
When I can actively open my window and not need the AC or not need the heater, and I can curl up under my little blanket and I go tee.
I know it's spring when everything starts to go on discount for the new spring wardrobe. That's when I know it's spring.
What'd you say about the groundhog?
Oh yeah, they killed it. I think someone shot it.
Shot it, like when? When does this happen?
I don't know, like maybe a couple days ago, but it's dead. And that's how I know that it's spring.
Who's gonna be the next Puxatawny Phil?
You know that beaver that does the Pennsylvania scratch off? I think we need to get him on there.
That's our new Puxatawny Phil.
Well, a big indication that spring is coming or any warm weather is coming is when in my neighborhood, the local vagabonds decide to sit outside of their stoops and in their porches and just play their loud music and drink their malt liquor. And that's how I know that spring is upon us, because they don't do that when it's cold. Well, they do that sometimes when it's cold, but they really do it when the warm weather gets out. So basically, on the lookout, if your local bums or people that look like bums but they live in a house decide to start sitting outside drinking malt liquor and playing loud music, that's how you know it's springtime. And they're never at work either. Never at work.
Okay, one, the motorcycles, right? The dirt bikes, they, like, as soon as it gets just a little, like, the sun starts shining through the clouds, like, that's it. They go out on the street and they're on there and that's all you hear. Another one that's, like, one of my favorite things to see is the flowers on the trees. It's so gorgeous. It's my favorite time. I love spring. Spring's my favorite season, guys.
I want to say, I feel like my basic answer is flowers, but also like the feeling that I get when it's about to be springtime, I get really antsy for summer. Like, I can't wait for the snow to be off the ground, and I get really impatient with school. I get really tired. I don't want to do it. But then it's just more motivation to keep going.
Right.
So it can go by faster so we can get to summer.
One indicator for me is whenever you go outside with your jacket on and you're just like, dang, kind of hot. Why do I even have my jacket on today? Why am I bringing my jacket today? The second you're like, all right, I think I'm gonna put my jacket up is when it's like, okay, weather's getting warmer, springtime. Springtime's coming.
Okay, hold on.
You wanna do it?
Hey, on top of cars. Hey, on top of cars.
Yep.
That's spring.
And school about to be over soon. Watch.
Tired
Like
of
this.
The snow. It needs to melt expeditiously. And you know what? It has been melting. You're about to see the roses outside. Sniff them. Sniff them.
Spring is usually my least favorite season. How I know? It's because my nose and my allergies are running and they're at an all-time high. So I haven't reached it yet, so spring is not here yet.
I feel like when we get the average, 60-degree weather, and when I don't want to wear this jacket anymore, it's as simple as that.
That is true. You've had that jacket on for the whole month. Not even month, the whole season of winter.
Listen, it looks good, okay?
It looks good. It's a good flannel.
I couldn't tell if that was a diss or not. I was like, wait, what was going on?
No, it wasn't a diss. It's just honest observations. That's all.
Honestly, my indication is the warmer weather. When I see people driving the carts in the street, there are people biking more.
Yes.
Definitely when my siblings end up having allergies more, I'm like, oh, spring's coming. And definitely when my little sister starts going outside more, that's when I'm like, yeah, spring's coming. My sister's starting to go outside with her friends more.
Those are some excellent responses from our fellow explorers. So I gotta ask you, Pat, how do you know spring is here?
Obviously, when you see all the flowers, the cherry blossom trees, because who doesn't love cherry blossom trees? But also just the warmth of the air and the sun. When you can go outside and not have to wear a jacket. And then also when that seasonal depression kind of starts to wrap up, because bye-bye. But how about you, Kayla?
So for me, it's a couple things. For one, I always have on a layer underneath all my clothes. Right now, I'm double layered. I wouldn't say double layered. I have one layer and then this layer. So when it's springtime and I don't have to layer anymore, that's how I know that is cool. And I'm like, okay, it's springtime. Second thing, I will say when the motorcycles come out and everybody on my block is outside on their porches, sitting outside, being nosy, we can only speculate what Lucas thinks about this whole thing. We'll have to see how his fight to the death with Genesis turns out.
Hopefully he doesn't end up like that groundhog, dead.
Yep, R.I.P. Puxatawny Phil.
Hopefully not R.I.P. Lucas.
Yep.
So Lucas Core.
Hashtag Lucas Core. All right, we'll see you back in the studio with us.
Unfortunately, Kayla never made it to the studio. I suspect that the spring season compelled her to just hop on a motorcycle and ride off. Jokes aside, it's always great to hear from our fellow explorers. Thank you to everyone that took part.
I can't believe it's the end of our episode already. I feel like we just sprung right into everything. But hey, at least spring break is right around the corner.
Yeah, agreed. But fortunately, the love of Backstage Pass is forever, unlike the snow. And there's a special place you can connect and keep up with us, social media.
Get your phone out and follow us on these various platforms seen on your screen. Give us a follow, leave a comment, and let us know if you have any suggestions. Plus, you can check out exclusive content, including hilarious blooper reels and other ways to get involved, so make sure you're following us. If you don't, Dan Housen will put a curse on you, and winter will just never end. I'm just kidding. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Patrick O'Hara, the giraffe.
And I'm Lucas the Leprechaun Alvin. We'll see you next time, right here on Backstage Pass.